energy, settle the stress of the day, settle the hustle and the bustle, and just take time to connect with yourself. And I hope with today's conversation, or what we are talking about, is really you're going to get time to look at yourself and think through some of the things that I talk about with you today. So let's just go ahead and get into it. So today's question is really something that I have been processing in my personal life. And it's also something that really comes up with my clients as well when we're talking. And I have to share with you the effects that our childhood has on us as grown-ups. I want to say probably 100%, if that's an overestimation, maybe like 90% of people I talk to, there is usually a direct correlation between you as an adult and your inner child. Sometimes unprocessed trauma, the way that we were handled as children, the root of the issues that we have now, like psychology 101, is influenced and affected by our childhood. And so today I wanted to really pinpoint a topic that I thought I could really talk about in a short time and see if it lands with you guys. And that is why we end up being exactly like the people we've sworn never to be like. So for example, you have heard, or you yourself have said, I will never be like my father, or I will never be like my mother, or any guardian in your life, where you look at their attitude, behaviors, the way that they live, and you decide that you'll never be like them. And that statement is, of course, influenced and said when we notice negative behaviors in these people that we think we don't want to be like that. But my curiosity about this is, why do we end up just like them? Because even in my own life, I have said I don't want to be like this, and I end up exactly like that. And I've spoken to clients who say, oh, this is how my mother used to act. This is how my father used to act. This is how this person used to act. And I am reliving that. And I had promised myself that I will never be like this person, but here I am exactly like this person. So I've made notes for you because one thing I hate is just talking out of my ass. So I want to be really clear, and I want to leave you something that will be helpful about this topic. So the reason you are exactly like that person is because you have formed your identity around not being like this person, right? So instead of taking time to be self-aware and understanding who you are, you have really built your life around, I'm not going to be like this person. So even though consciously you know that this is something that you don't want, your body and your subconscious, all it knows is this behavior. And it doesn't know how to act and respond differently, because you have not taken the time to figure out who you are, create your own identity, and self-identify, right? So in simple terms, all you know is this person's behaviors because you have not created different ones. So as much as you don't want to be like them, you end up like them because you don't know any other way to behave, right? Pause. And also, one of the things that drives us to behave like these people is we are still victims of that story. So no matter how much we don't want to be like them, we are victims of their behavior, right? So what we know is they did this, they did that, I'll never be like them, they make me so mad, but we are still victim to them. And until we break free and we release ourselves from being these people's victims, we will continue acting like them. And another thing that we have not done is we are still allowing that behavior to control us. So when you are victim to something, to someone's behavior, even it doesn't matter if it happened a long, long time ago, when you are still that victim, that victimized by that story, you will always end up like this person, right? So how do we release ourselves? And I have really thought about how do we move on from this? It's like such a simple thing, right? And one of the big things that always comes up in coaching is you have to be self-aware. What does self-awareness mean? It really means being curious about yourself. Be curious about yourself. Like some of us are just so tuned out. We are so tuned out about ourselves. We just don't really want to take the time to know who we are. We have been given an image, we have been given a story, we have been given identities by things that happen to us, by the people who raise us, by the society we've been raised in, by our environment. And we don't evolve past that, right? And to evolve past that means you have to be curious about who am I when these things no longer define me. When you are no longer defined by where you come from, when you are no longer defined by the shitty shit that has happened to you, when you are no longer defined by the relationships that you are part of, who are you? A lot of us cannot answer that question because we don't know, because we have not taken the time to get to know ourselves, to spend time with ourselves. And I'm not talking about coming home, putting on Netflix, binging every show. That's not spending time with yourself. I thought that was spending time with myself. It's not. Really spending time with yourself is being intentional. I am going to intentionally spend time with Khanyi today. Computers off, TV off, maybe a bit of music. I'm going to do some journaling. I'm going to write myself a letter. I write myself letters all the time. I'm going to tell myself different stories. That is what self-awareness is. And the reason I bring up self-awareness with this topic is because when you are really self-aware, that's when you can really know what areas need to be healed, right? Because when you are self-aware, you can self-manage. And so when you really begin to know who am I, what are these traumas, what are these triggers, right? This is like fancy words, traumas and triggers. What are these things that make me repeat the same patterns? What are these triggers and traumas that make me behave like this person? That's the topic today, right? Why do I act like this person? When you are self-aware, you can really be intentional about the areas that you need to heal in your life, because you will know what they are. Because when you are not self-aware, right, you don't know what those areas are. And so who are you? I think the real question that will bring us healing and break us free from that is knowing who we are. So one thing to start that journey of not behaving like these people is to be self-aware, so that your identity is no longer informed by them and who they are and their story and their behaviors, but your identity is influenced by you. And you can really control your emotions and your triggers in that way. Capiche? Good. Then the next question that I am going to answer, and I think this one really goes hand in hand with this topic of other people's behaviors and who do I blame? I think that's such a big question. That question of everything that has happened in my life, everything that has broken me, everything that has been bad, who do I blame for that? And I think the answer to that is perhaps that's not the question. Perhaps the question is, how do I move forward from that? Because we can blame people all day long. My stepfather don't talk to him, haven't spoken to him for 15 years, and I blame him for so much. What does that do for me though? Nothing. It keeps me stuck. I don't grow as a person. There are things in my life that I cannot reach because when I try to, I am held back by this person that I blame. And so the real question is, how do I move past that? That blaming of people for my life and my story and my situation. And what I want to share with that is, I was watching Tony Robbins, and there's a girl there who, blames her father for where she's at and the struggles she's having. I would say go watch it. Tony Robbins on Netflix. I am not your guru. It's amazing. But he says to her, and this has been such a helpful point to move forward and past that blaming thing that we think we are so justified in doing. I am justified in blaming you. He says, if you are going to blame someone for your life, blame them for everything. Blame them for the good, the best, the wonderful, the fantastic, the ugly, the gorgeous. Blame them for all of it. Blame them for being strong. Blame them that behavior, whatever they did to you, it has made you who you are now. Resilient. It has made you calculative. It has made you compassionate. It has made you kind. It has really made you the person that you are today. And when you can look at your life, and including who to blame, with those eyes of, I am this person today, this strong person, this kind person, this compassionate person, because of every single thing that has ever happened to me. Then you bring back that power and you bring back that control right back to you, and you realize, shit, there's no one to blame. Those people played their part. Those people played a part that was designed for them to play in order for you to be this person. Because had they not played their part correctly, you would probably be somebody else, and we wouldn't know the gifts that you have to offer. So even though it felt shitty at the time, even though it felt absolutely horrible at the time, the fact that you are who you are today, despite of everything that they have done to you, it means that they played their part and they played it well, and perhaps we can even thank them instead of blaming them. Perhaps we can say, thank you for being shitty. Thank you for this part that you played, because of that, I am who I am today. Grounded, centered, ambitious, and I know how to move forward, and I know how to be resilient because you taught me how to be resilient. And I think that is how I am really going to answer that question for you. And I'm going to end it here because I like things short, because when they are short, you have time to think. When they are short, you have time to feel into them. And I really hope that this video has been helpful for you, and you really think about ways how to be self-aware, how to heal. Because honestly, I really believe that the world is the way that it is now because we have people who have not healed running it. We have people who are influenced and informed by their trauma who are leading us. And this is why we are where we are today. And I'm going to end that. Also, I want to invite you to my webinar that I will be hosting on Sunday, May 9th. I'll drop the link for that here so you can sign up for it. I'll also have it on my Instagram. I'll have it on all the things. Register for my webinar because I'm going to be talking about how do you overcome the fear of starting over and confidently reclaim your life. I'm really excited about it because that is something that I have had to do in my life over and over and over. Keep, starting over is hard, and I've really designed this webinar to help you see the ways that you can do this and you are not stuck. in toxic situations anymore. And with that, I want to say have a fantastic and fabulous week. And I will see you next Monday. Well, I'll see you on Sunday for the webinar, and then I'll see you next Monday again for Ask Coach Khanyi. Drop me an email or comment on here if you have any other questions that you would like me to answer for you, and I will do just that. Bye.
Good job, babe.
You heard all of that?